Welcome to our study of the book of Hebrews. I am so excited to be starting this book with you. This is absolutely one of my favorite books of the Bible. Now, I know I say that often, but really, this is one of my favorite books, the Hebrews, the book of Hebrews. Now, in this lesson, we are not going to actually get into any of the text. We are simply going to do an overview of the book, an introductory lesson. I'm going to give you some context and some background and prepare you to receive the lessons, the forthcoming lessons in the next lessons as we study this book. So, let us jump right in. We are going to start out by looking at getting some context. Let's get some context. Let's take a look at the writing of this book. We know that this book was written sometime around the late 60s, maybe even as late as the early 70s. But we do know that it was written before the temple was destroyed in 70 AD, because we know that because there are some references to the temple in the text. So we know it was written sometime before that temple was destroyed. Now we know what was going on at the time. Let's talk about what was going on at the time of the writing of this book. At the time of the writing of this book, Christians were being heavily persecuted by this crazy man, Emperor Nero. He was on a mad rant of Christian persecution, just insane, completely insane. I want to show you a picture. Now, this is not one of my favorite pictures. I don't love this picture, quite frankly, because the people didn't look like this, but it at least depicts some of what I want to talk about. If you can see in the picture, there's a group of Christians in the center of the arena, and lions are being let loose on them to attack them and eat them and pull them apart. And if you notice the people in the stands, they are up and cheering and as though they are watching a sporting event. So this was sport to them. And you will also notice that there are crucifixes lining the perimeter of the arena. But what you will notice is that these torches, these crucifixes, are Christians are strapped to these crucifixes, and they're being used. They're serving as human torches to light the arena. So this is common practice. This is some of the things that the Christians were experiencing during this time. And so the writer is writing this book to these Hebrews, to these Christians that are they're Jewish people that were Jewish originally and that had converted to Christianity. And in the face of this persecution, some of them were converting back to Judaism, running scared and converting back and falling away. And so the writer is writing to encourage them and to tell them that, hey, don't do this, don't fall away, don't turn away. This Christianity is better than Christ is better than everything else. Christianity is better than everything else. Don't go back to the old. Christianity is way better than the old. And so that is what the writer is attempting to do in this book. Now, speaking of the writer, I want to switch over to the next slide. I want you to take a look at this statue. The statue, as you can see, you can't tell who this writer, the statue is. That's exactly my point. We don't know who the writer of this book to be. We don't know. That's the long and short of it, is that we don't know. Their scholars have pretty much proven that the Apostle Paul is not the author. So we know the Apostle Paul is not the author. But some of the theories, most scholars believe, pretty much there's some scholars that believe Barnabas to be the writer. Some believe Apollos to be the writers. I fall with this. I subscribe to the school of thought that the writer is a woman. Yes, a woman. Now you don't have to subscribe to that. This is my belief. The reason, and I'll tell you why I believe that. I believe that the writing of this text, the delivery style and methodology, falls in line with the style of Apollos. Now, who trained Apollos? Priscilla and Aquila. Okay, and because Apollos was this very gifted speaker, he was a Jew, he was a follower of John the Baptizer, and once Christianity took off, he set out to start preaching the word, preaching salvation. But he didn't have this. He didn't have it right. He didn't have all the facts together. He wasn't. He was off. He wasn't preaching the word correctly. And so Priscilla and Aquila came alongside him and trained him and helped him to get it right. And so my thought is that the writer of the book would be the teacher as opposed to the student. Just my thought. And so that's why I subscribe to the writer being. But the bottom line is this: we don't know who the writer is. Well, yes, we do. We know God is the writer of this book. All scripture is God breathed. So God is the writer of this book. And so with that, we'll move on because we don't actually know. Let's take a look at the outline of this book. We've broken this book into 5 sections. Now, the overview, the big idea of this whole book, it could be summarized in a few words. And I did that on the first slide. I said Hebrews, the supremacy of Christ. We could go home after that because that is the overarching, the overview of this book is just that. Jesus is better than everyone and everything. So specifically, let's look at the outline. Now, I've told you before in other lessons, the literary law of the proportionate selectivity tells us that whatever is on the heart and the mind of the writer is going to show up in that literary work in greater volume than anything else. So, with that in mind, we see from the outline that the writer spends 10 chapters of this book. Now, it's only 13 chapters in the book, but he spends 10 chapters proving the supremacy of Christ and the supremacy of Christianity. He starts out in the first section, the supremacy of Christ, the first 5 chapters, and the writer proves that. Well, let's do this. I want to break it down a little more than this. Let me just move forward to the next slide. Uber. I like this word, Uber. Uber is one of my favorite words. Uber is defined in the dictionary as the ultimate, the best, top, something that nothing is better than, above all. And that's basically what the writer is doing in these next 5 slides, in these next 5 chapters, as we can see from the slide. Jesus, there's a greater than sign, and then there's all these things. The writer is approaching the reader. Remember I said the writer's writing to this Hebrew audience. These are people who were originally Jews. They were converted to Christianity. And so now he's writing to those people. So he's going to start and meet them where they are. Jewish people, and according to they follow the Torah, the first 5 books of the Old Testament. And so they have certain beliefs. Some of the things they believe, they hold very highly the prophets in the Old Testament. And so the writer goes and shows them how Jesus is better than the prophets. He tells them, look, God used to speak to the prophets, but he doesn't even speak to the prophets anymore. He doesn't speak through the prophets. He goes directly to his son now. And then then he goes and the writer shows them how Jesus is greater than the angels. And angels, the Hebrews, these Jewish people would have held angels in high esteem, the angels of the Lord. But he shows them how Jesus is greater than the angels. He goes on to show them how Jesus is greater than Moses, Joshua, and Aaron. And these are people that this Jewish audience would have held in high esteem. And so he demonstrates how Christ is superior to all of these. Then he goes on and tells them, look, be careful about falling away. Listen, he goes and shows them there's this snare of apostasy is very dangerous. Stay away from this trap. Don't fall into this trap. The writer examines the reader's shortcomings and enlightens them to this apostasy. And the writer advises them on how to gain victory in Christ. And be careful of these, these Judaizers. Don't listen. Don't fall into this trap. Next, the writer shows them, let's look at the superior, it spends the next 5 chapters proving the superiority of Christianity over Judaism. So why go back when Christianity is better? Christianity offers, he shows us this slide, Christianity offers a better way that in every way. It provides a greater priesthood. There's not priesthood in accordance with Aaronite priesthood or Levitical priesthood, but Christianity offers a better way, a priesthood in order of Melchizedek, one directly from heaven. Christianity offers a better covenant. The Old Covenant, the New Covenant is better than the Old Covenant. The New Testament is better than the Old Testament. He's telling them the approach that Christianity offers a better approach to God. We can go directly to God. We don't have to go through a priest, is what he's telling them. Christianity offers a better law. Our law, the Christianity, the law under the old Levitical law, they had to offer sin offerings and they had to constantly be doing offerings, and they tried to keep the law. It was impossible to keep the law. Now, under Christ's law, under Christianity, the law, we don't have to do that. We accept the gift of Christ. So it offers a better way, a better hope, and a better worship. Christianity is better, is greater than Judaism in every way, he tells them. And so then he goes on and he gives them the standard of Christian behavior. He tells them, look, basically, in short, we are to be the calling cards of Christ. People ought to look at us and see the way. They ought to look at us and say, hey, I want to be like them. I want to be like them. And then he goes on and leaves them with a supplication and greeting. And in between, in that section where he's telling them about that Christianity is greater, in between, we see this wonderful faith chapter, which is one of my favorite chapters in the whole Bible, the faith chapter. That is Hebrews 11, followed by one of my next favorite, Hebrews 12. And that is because Hebrews 11 catalogs for us, catalogs the wonderful faith exercised by our forefathers in the midst of persecution and nothingness. They had faith, and it inspires us to faith. And then chapter 12 follows right along on the heels and tells us how to live our life. After we get this great catalog, we get to look at this great catalog of great faith it lived out by our forefathers. Then chapter 12 tells us, now, therefore, since we are surrounded by this great cloud of witness, it tells us how we're supposed to live our life. Let us run with perseverance, the race marked out for us, with our eyes fixed on Jesus. So it gives us the game plan, for how to live our lives. So that's why these are some of my favorite chapters in the whole Bible. And I'm so excited to be studying this with you in these next few lessons, in these next few weeks. And I know the information moves pretty quickly, so if you ever have any questions, please feel free to email me. Let me know. I'll get back to you and do my best to answer your questions. And until we meet again online, be blessed.